Just trying to gather some castor beans. These plants didn't do real well this year, but the soil down here ain't no good either, so. But we're working on it. Some of them already popped open. Beans fell out of them. So the other day I was mowing and gathered up the grass clippings, bagged it up and put it around some of the storms in that one. Put it around some of the lavenders and some of the rhubarbs. Just try to snuff out some weeds, help improve the soil a little bit. Just trust me, this soil, it's freaking harder than a rock. I'm not even sure how grass grows in it, to be honest with you. It's pretty hard. But the field itself is actually getting better since we've been running chickens in it for the last couple of years. It's way greener than it used to be. That's all those. So we'll put these with the rest of them. Not many. I got about that many a week or so ago. So we're just going to give you a little update. We ain't did one for about a month. We've been doing one about once a month all summer long, so might as well do one this month. We did October or August, but we didn't do September yet. So
it was a busy month.
Yeah, it's always busy. You just seen that. I don't know when I planted them rhubarbs. I put them in the ground the last few weeks. But I made a video of putting these in, the castor beans and the lavenders. I did a video on them, I don't know, early this year. Probably in May, I would guess, May or June. They didn't grow much. They're pretty small. They're supposed to get tall and big, but this soil is poor. And we never got no rain all year either, so.
Yeah, no rain makes a big difference.
I'll guarantee you. Most of our fruit trees are doing good. The deer seem to enjoy them. I don't know. I put bone sauce on these. I don't even know how many times. And I'm going to have to put some more on. It does help for a while, but it don't keep it all summer. The deer actually ate some of the comfrey around that one. I put some thyme around them and comfrey around all of the trees down here. Of course, right here the deer took that comfrey, dug that whole root, the whole crown I put in there. It's gone now, so the deer must have took the whole freaking crown around that chestnut tree. The rosemary is still there. That's got lavender on that one. The comfrey crown is here on this one though. We didn't eat it yet, but give them time. Once it starts growing, they will. But all these have that. Most of them have deer damage on them. A week or two ago, I harvested one of our horseradish. If you didn't see that video, look down below. It'll be there. Actually, it turned out really, really good. But this area here is doing good. It's doing real good, actually. Put in a bunch of strawberries and some elderberries last week. No rain though. Hopefully they all live. The elderberry cuttings look like they're going to be fine. The strawberries, a lot of the deer ate them up. But all in all, this area down here is doing really good for being as dry as it is.
Yeah.
The blueberries that I transplanted this spring, they did produce this year. Hopefully they don't die off. They look like they're going to do all right. But as dry as it's been this year, I'm surprised they didn't all die. And the mints and the cat mint is doing really good. And the spearmint or whatever that is, it's doing good too. Not that I really planted it there. It came with the roots. We've got chives and lupines growing around here. Put all that around there to try to help keep the deer away. But deer don't usually bother blueberries anyways. But They do eat the comfrey, as you can see, and even pokeberries. Which that pokeberry, who knows where it came from? Probably a bird crapped out a pokeberry seed. But all in all, it's doing good down here. Zucchinis probably did the best out of all the zucchini we had, but looks like it is starting to get some squash bugs into it somewhere. Yep, definitely. But it lasted the longest and produced the best, and I don't got my knife on me. There's a zucchini on there that looks like it was missed from the last time. So it's still doing really good.
Yeah.
Tomatoes, they're starting to...
Jeez. They went insane
They
down
did go
here.
insane. I just stuck them in the ground, but they're...
They're clear down and
Yeah,
along the fence. And
we harvested some, but most of them we never. And the deer ate that one.
yeah, the deer came in and ate tomatoes.
Then I don't know how many lupines, but I planted a fair many lupines around our blueberry trees.
I'll say they'll really take off next year.
I'm not sure what kind of tomatoes these are, but they're starting to, they're huge.
Oh, wow.
And some of them ginormous, and they're starting to blush, so
Yeah, they are.
we'll see. They may or may not ripen. I need to get through here and cut all the foliage back so the fruit ripens. Peach trees that we put in, the apple tree on the far end, they're all doing good. We put some tomatoes and stuff in down here too, and they're exploding. So those two beds there is going to be garlic in about a month and a half or so. So I did have cover crops in there. As you can see, there's sorghum and a bunch of other stuff in there growing, peas and whatnot. But the deer won't quit eating them, so they're not doing nothing. So I didn't have a big enough tarp, so I just put the tarp I had on half the beds. So we'll see if it does any good. The deer just devour all of our stuff down here in this area. But this is our asparagus patch, and as you can see, it's starting to fill in really good. I think they're 3 years old. I started these from seed right here where they're at. Next year we should be able to get a fair bit of asparagus off of this patch. If not, and then the following next 20 years we'll be able to harvest all the asparagus that we can never eat for sure. And for knock on wood, I've never noticed deer damage on this asparagus or any of the other asparagus, so the deer mustn't bother with asparagus. So
They walk through it, but they
do
don't
walk
bother
through, but they don't eat it. So note to anybody that's out there, if you want asparagus, I don't know, maybe we can put it around our trees and maybe help keep the deer from
It could.
grazing on the trees and stuff too, browsing on them. But you go right beside here to the raspberry patch, and the deer ate them too. Yeah. And a bunch of sunflowers. They won't even let them grow.
Yeah, you did rows of sunflowers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. One thing that is doing fairly well, but it's starting to come in late. We live in a pretty cool climate. These will never overwinter. I was hoping they would produce this year, but they didn't. Artichokes, globe artichoke, but we'll see. They won't overwinter here, but
They're
I was
pretty
hoping
cool.
Huh?
They're pretty cool.
Oh yeah, they are cool.
And the deer hasn't bothered them.
The deer hadn't bothered them either.
Maybe put them around fruit trees.
Doesn't matter. They're right directly beside them. They look at the leaves missing on that
Well,
raspberry.
that's true.
So they don't care that that's there and all. They won't eat it, but they'll eat right beside of it. We got a locust, a black locust that just started growing in the raspberry patch. I just left it. I'm going to leave it alone. I'll probably prune it down some, but I'm going to let it grow there. I ain't going to bother with it. This stout here, I do like this for egg layers. Really good. I don't like this kind here for egg layers. I took the tarp off of them so I wouldn't have to worry about them getting damaged over the winter. And we're done with the meat birds, so these are good for meat birds. I don't like this kind for egg layers. We tried that And I don't like how they operate. They're too heavy to move around with egg layers in them.
Putting that nesting box one was a pain in
Well,
the
it's too
butt.
heavy, but it was too heavy. The egg layers got to walk with you, and you can't move them. It's nice to move them when it's dark out, and they don't want to move because they ain't in there when it's daylight. They're out running around. So you have to move it when they're in it, which means that they're either already went to bed or didn't get up yet, and they don't like to walk. So it's a pain in the butt with egg layers. They need something with the floor in it. Them work 10 times better. But these work good for meat birds because you don't move them when it is dark. You move them to. And ours, I moved in the morning when I got home from work, and then when I got before we went to bed. Before I would go in, I'd move them 3 times a day, and they worked really good for that. So we have 4 of this style and 1 of that style. But this bed and this bed, neither one did real good this year for us, which whatever. This bed here had tomatoes in it for the last 3 seasons. We did get some beets out of this bed, but not as many as we'd like to have. So when we got all the beets out of it, we had a bunch of old seeds plus old, and I just mixed them all together and threw them out through here. But now we have a really nice stand of cover crops, and it's really nice actually. Nice sunflowers. We have some beans. They're starting to flower, which is fine, whatever. Buckwheat. There is some squash and stuff. We did get a couple zucchinis out of this bed too. We have beans. Nice green bean.
Oh my goodness.
And they're good raw. I'm not a big fan of raw ones, but they're not terrible. Not sure what kind that is, but it's pretty tasty. Just watermelon. It's actually starting to flower. It's a little bit late. They'll never produce nothing. But this bed is going crazy.
It don't produce when we had the beets and tomatoes very well, but sunflowers.
It did all right with tomatoes the last couple of years. We even got purple beans. Purple green beans. They're not bad. I can't remember what kind of them are either, but we grew these several years ago. But with all them roots in the ground in this bed, next year this bed should produce really good. It should. This is definitely going to help. Definitely going to help the microbes and stuff in the soil. Next year this bed should really do good. When I put the cover crop seeds down, all the old seeds down, when I put them down, the chicken yard for the summer was right beside of us, and we put straw down. We put straw down on top of those from out of the chicken yard, and it's almost gone already. There's not a whole lot left of it. It's pretty much gone, but so all the organic matter that's been produced in this bed should do really good next year. This bed here, I planted einkorn in it. It didn't do real well, whether that was the einkorn or whether that was the garden. The soil, I don't know. But it did produce enough where I can get some seed for next year. Then we have some cauliflower that's miscellaneously popping up. There was a lot in here, but there ain't much in here, so I'd guess the soil in this garden bed's pretty poor. The compost I bought last fall and this spring was very disappointing, but what do you do? This bed right here is Provider green beans. We harvested out of them several times, and we decided they were done, but I never had time to get rid of them and put a cover crop in, so I figured I would just let these in there as a cover crop, and they come back to life. I mean, it's insane. We've not harvested out of this bed for probably 3 weeks, probably.
Yeah.
And they're getting new flowers, getting new beans. That's insane how they just came back.
It's like every time we have just a little rain, they come back to life. Oh my gosh, there's a big
Oh yeah,
bean on that side.
there's some nice beans in there.
Jeez.
Yeah, there's pretty nice ones in here. These providers are good. Probably my favorite bean is these. And then the Mexican sunflowers are doing great too. So
That orange is beautiful.
but it is very beautiful. Cantaloupes didn't do real well. The vine borers and the cucumber beetles and all that, they just devour them things. We've tried probably 3 or 4 times to grow them, and we could never get any to grow. I thought we was going to get some this year because we got a lot of them that started to get melons on them, but I grabbed 3 or 4 of them the other day and cut into them, fed them all to the chickens. They weren't fit for human consumption. They were disgusting. They smelled pretty nasty and looked kind of gross on the inside. But the chickens devoured them. So our watermelon did do pretty well in this bed down to that Mexican sunflower. They did pretty well. And the dill, I need to gather them up. I'm gonna have dill
Everywhere.
Yeah, that's all right though. It's pretty. Corn, we will be cutting these stalks down within the next, some of them, not all of them, and we'll be taking orders for fall decorations. Anybody local that wants corn stalks, just look us up. I can't remember what we charged last year, but it'll be the same price. We're not going to change it. And the corn that's on them, some of the corn did all right. Some of the corn, we got enough. We ate some corn. We sold a little bit of corn, and we canned all we needed canned. And the rest, there was bugs and bird damage in them, so I left them on there. But the chickens, that every day or so, I'll pull some off and husk it back, and the chickens will devour that stuff. And these are peppers, and these peppers did great. As you can see, they're still, these hot bananas are doing great. We'll probably not get any more harvest out of them until the very end of the season, and then we'll just cut them down and pick them off. There ain't going to be a whole lot left. They're all pretty small. These bell peppers did great too, actually. We'll probably harvest some for this weekend's farmer's market, and then we won't for a few weeks.
Let them go.
Yeah, but they're doing pretty good.
The plants did great.
The plants did.
Oh my gosh, they got so big.
Yeah, this was cucumbers, and as you can see, they didn't do real well. They did good at the beginning of the year, but they didn't. They did the same as everything else. They
got them bugs.
Got them bugs on them and just destroyed them. These pepperoncinis, I don't know if anybody likes pepperoncinis or not, but if you let them ripen until they're red, that there's a little bit overly ripe, as you can see. That there I won't. But if you let them ripen until they're red,
and they are just loaded.
Them right there is the sweetest pepper I've ever eaten in my life. A little bit of heat. That there is pretty warm. That's probably the hottest one I eat all year. But man, the flavor. These Kentucky Blue pole beans, we did the same thing with these as we did the beans up above. They were done, so we left them. I didn't have time to take them out and put in a cover crop, so I just left these in the ground. You got to have roots in the ground. And that's probably, well, she harvested some early this week. But they're starting to produce new ones, starting to get some flowers back.
I just looked on the other side, and there is so many on the other side.
Yeah, but we may harvest some more off these, but I don't know that we will.
Yeah.
We may let them go for seed. That way we have seed for next year. But if we do, we do. If we don't, we don't. We got a lot of basil on this side with dill. Excuse me. And these Mexican sunflowers. I'll probably cut a couple of the heads off of them too for seed. I think we still have seed, but I'd like to collect some of these. Them are beautiful plants.
They get so big.
They do.
They kind of are overwhelming in a bed
They are.
that you're harvesting.
Yeah, they are. I shouldn't have put them in here where I did, but they're too pretty not to. So yeah, we have basil and stuff on this side, dill, and on that side we have cilantro. And the cilantro, it's all going to seed. It needs to come out. I don't want it dropping seed everywhere. And it's disgusting anyways. I don't know how anybody can even eat that stuff.
I'm starting to get used to it.
There's no way. The smell of it's gross, and it tastes like soap. It's disgusting. These Problemo peppers did really good this year. And here's a nice one. These actually did really good.
They're awesome.
They are.
We sell out every week.
Every week we sell out of these. Jalapenos, they did good. We did our jalapeno candy out of them, or cowboy candy, and we started taking them to the market. They're not selling like I thought they usually do. They're not selling near as much this year as we've sold them in the past. But that's all right. Win some, you lose some. And this here is Jimmy Red corn. We got the seed originally from Haas's, and then we grew this out of the seed we saved 2 years ago. It's, I don't know, probably 9 foot tall roughly. But this is green corn. We used it the last time we grew it. We grew it for, we made cornbread out of it and that kind of thing. It's red. The kernels are red.
It's really pretty.
But it's doing pretty decent. If it wasn't so dry, it would have done better. But this bed where these 3 bottom beds, these peppers, the jalapenos, and that is probably the worst 3 beds in this garden since we put this garden in 3 years ago. Actually, this would be I think it's our 4th growing season in this garden. And these 3 here was always the worst by far. So I can't complain too much about how things are doing.
Well, we had the chickens in here then.
I put the chickens in here in the spring. I think I put like 10 or 15 egg layers in this bed for several weeks. And it definitely improved it by far. That, and I put compost in, and then wood chips in the walkways. And then I put weed fabric down.
That weed fabric saved a lot of time.
Yeah, we're going to do more weed fabric next year to keep the moisture in the ground too. You know, the wood chips and this weed fabric don't let the soil, the water evaporate out of the soil. So when we do get a little bit of rain, it actually helps hold it in there better. And you could do the same thing with cover crops. If you had a low growing cover crop, you could do that in these areas too. But to me, that's too weedy. I can't deal with, like, you could put clover in here, which would help feed these peppers, and the peppers would probably do better. But it would look like a weedy mess to me. To me, I can't take all that. It just drives me crazy. My brain don't work like that. Down here we have some cayennes, but they're kind of weird how they're growing.
This is our first year of putting them in.
Yeah. It's not going to be our last year. I'm going to probably grow some again. And I don't know, they're kind of weird. The peppers themselves, look how small the plants are.
And it took forever for them to take off.
It did. And now they're growing. And we did harvest, I'm not sure. I don't know how many I harvested. A dehydrator full, but now they're not getting ripe.
They're staying green.
Right, you probably can't tell in the camera because it is green. But them plants, there is a gazillion peppers on them.
Yeah. And there's a couple starting to turn.
There's some starting to turn.
Yeah. But look, it's like loaded.
Oh yeah, they're loaded big time.
Maybe if we get the rain that they're calling for this week.
I don't know, maybe.
Maybe that's what they're needing.
I don't know. but they're just not getting ripe for some reason. There's a lot that is ripe. I mean, I could go through and pick a bunch that are ripe. That I'm not going to eat because I know that sucker's hot. But yeah, I could go through and pick some, and it might help the rest get ripe. But I don't know. Probably ought to pick them sooner rather than later. It'll turn to mush.
Yeah.
But this garden down here has done pretty good for us, all in all. And we did have zucchini in that area. And when the vine borer started getting too bad, I pulled them out and just got marigolds growing in there now. I did put some cover crop seeds in, but none of them ever grew. So I don't know. It probably lack of rain and lack of me watering them to germinate. So this here, we have cherry tomatoes. They're about ready to come out. As you can see, they're starting to die out. But we've gotten plenty of tomatoes off these plants. And we already got our next crop in, onions and sour grass, and some sorrel, and some kind of mustard. Anyhow, I digress. Onions and weeds. So these tomatoes will come out, and the onions, will have them in there all winter. And the ginger, I harvested probably half, maybe a little more than half of the ginger I harvested Friday for Saturday's market. And I'll harvest the rest of this on Friday for next Saturday's market. And then in this bed, we're going to put spinach, kale, and radishes in here for winter. This bed here, this kale's ready to come out and go to the chickens. When the tomatoes come out, the kale will come out, and then from where the onions stop right here to there will probably be spinach or radishes or something I'll put in there. So this year's about ready to flip to the winter garden in this bed. Within the next week or two, it'll have the winter garden in it. And if you want to see me put that in, I'm sure I'll video it.
Just like and subscribe to our page.
Just like and subscribe, exactly. And share it with your friends.
Yeah, let others know.
These are Jerusalem artichokes, aka sunchokes, whatever you want to call them. Doesn't matter a whole lot to me. The bed didn't do real good this year. I harvested out, and the last 3 Fridays I harvested out for the farmers market. The rest, we're not going to harvest the rest of those. We'll let those for us. This entire bed is coming out of here sometime. It's just falling apart. It's so rotted up, falling apart. It's been in there for years. So
it did good though.
Oh, it did. I'm not sure where we're going to put the Jerusalem artichokes. I'll probably put them down the property line, down one side or the other. Not sure. Not 100% sure. This bed here doesn't. We had our chickens in here 2 or 3 winters ago, and this bed never really did produce much. We used to put our sunflowers in this area, and then we put our chickens in here that one winter, and ever since then we've tried to grow other stuff, and it does okay, but it doesn't do real well.
Maybe we'll just go back to the sunflowers next year.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I'd like to put watermelons in this trellis for next year, but I don't know for sure what we'll put in it. We'll see. The loofahs, they're not doing real well. They're doing all right, but they're definitely not doing good.
It took them forever.
Yeah, it did.
But they're coming.
But there ain't enough time for them to finish. But these, I'm not sure exactly what kind of squash these are. Some kind of delicante, I think. We've got a fair many of them. There's a couple of them that's actually probably this one, and this one here is actually ripe. The rest of them need to go a little longer, so I'll probably take these off. And I put a bunch of comfrey in on that side.
There's one up on top there.
Yeah, I know. I'll see if I can.
There it comes down.
Yeah. I was thinking there was another one up there.
Right above your head, there's a small.
Oh, okay. There. I doubt these will finish because we don't have enough time before our first frost.
I'll be eager to try them and see how they are.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I did put a bunch of comfrey in back here. Hopefully it'll help snuff out a bunch of the weeds between the garden and this space. We'll see. Finished harvesting the beets the other day. So this bed and half of this bed was beets. So now I need to clean the weeds out and put a cover crop in. I'm not sure what I'm going to put in there. I know I'm going to put in some tillage radish for sure. I'm not sure what my other crop will be. Probably peas, maybe Austrian snow peas or something. We'll see. This bed here has buckwheat, and there's some clover. Not sure if that's all I'll put in this bed. This bed and that bed there, actually, both.
Oh, okay.
Well, this half of this bed.
Yeah.
I think that's all that's in there. I was thinking I put peas in there too, but I must not have. Just buckwheat and clover is all I see.
Oh no, there's some peas.
Oh yeah, there is. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, that's probably a pea. Might be clover though. I think peas should be taller with bigger leaves. But anyways, it doesn't matter. So that's what's in these two beds. So yeah, I need to put a cover crop in that bed and this half of this bed. Half of this bed has beets in it. They're probably not going to do much.
Yeah, they were so small I didn't take them up.
Well, they're too little. I just planted them not too long ago.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah. And then these tomatoes are about ready to come out. She's going to harvest them one more time.
That's what he keeps saying.
And
I think he just likes me coming out and seeing more tomatoes.
I do, actually. It's funny. Just makes her mad.
I'm like, more tomatoes?
Yeah, we got a freezer full of them now.
Well, we'll be set for making spaghetti sauce.
We won't need to make any spaghetti sauce next year, that I'm sure of. Or maybe even the year after that.
Yeah. I'll be eager to see how much it makes for us.
Yeah. This bed here, I need to get it weeded out. There's some radishes growing in there, but they're starting to go to seed too down this end. You can see they're starting to flower.
Yeah.
So they need to come out, and then I'll put a cover crop in this bed too. I got 1, 2, 3 beds. 3 beds I need to clean up and cover crop. And the tomatoes need to come out
this week.
Yeah, we'll see. Bed down below has spinach and beets in it. They're starting to come fairly decent. We'll probably get some spinach off of it. Probably get spinach off it either. If we don't get it this week, we should next week. But it's down below. I'm not going to go down there and look.
Now we got lettuce down there.
Lettuce there with some old bean heads coming out with them.
Yeah, it is.
Actually,
oh my gosh, there's beans.
There's beans on them too. This was the beans. Originally was beans in this bed, and I cut them down, and we planted lettuce in half of it, and I can't remember. I think we had beets in this half.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah. So we'll get 1, maybe 2 more crops of lettuce out of this bed. It's starting to cool off now in the evening, so through the day it's not real warm anymore. But so we may get more harvest than that out of it. But these zucchinis here, this bed had cauliflower in.
Yes.
Yeah, this was our cauliflower bed, and then I put zucchini in. Actually, first Heather and her mother put in the wood shavings out of the brooder. That was only the meat birds. The egg layer brooder we put down there, right? Yeah. So anyhow, they put that in here, and then I planted zucchinis, and then I got some cantaloupes that I put in, but it's too late in the year for those. But I'm
ready to have flowers in your garden.
I haven't found out though over the last couple of years. I don't know who all has that issue, but cucumber beetles, vine borers, and all that just devour your zucchini. If you plant them later in the year, they always do way better. These were started, the seeds I started in trays on July 4th. And I didn't put them in the garden until probably the 1st of August. And you can see they're doing great. So you could probably start the seeds a little bit earlier than that and put them in the garden. You can probably put them in the garden like on the 4th of July and probably be all right. But I think one more thing I've discovered this year is if you mulch the beds with these here's got wood shavings from the brooder, and down in the food forest area is just wood chips like what's in our walkways, and the cucumber beetles hasn't bothered them. So
That's very true.
I think you need to plant them later and mulch them with something. Whether would straw work for mulch? Maybe, I don't know. Next year I may try that. Next year I think I might try them early with straw mulch to see what they do. Either work or it won't. You ain't out nothing, just an experiment.
Yeah.
I've tried to deal with it. Does seem to help a little bit to begin with, but they find it. But yeah, we'll see once. Next year, like I said, I'm gonna try them early. I'm gonna do a patch with straw mulch and do a patch with wood chip mulch early in the year just to see which one works the best, and then I'll know for sure how I want to do it from now on. But so far, later with mulch does by far better. But early I didn't mulch it, so I can't say that it wouldn't do good.
Yeah.
Then either. But here's the horseradish crowns that I got off the horseradish, and they're actually starting to grow. This one here's starting to
it is.
get leaves. That there's getting a leaf. That one right there is starting to grow out.
Nice.
So these are definitely growing out. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. I'd like to plant more, but I don't know where to put them. So we'll see once where I end up putting them at, and if anybody wants any locals or any even mail order, I won't send it. I'd probably send a crown, but I wouldn't send it in the pod. I would dig up another one and cut the crowns up. So anybody wants any, let us know. Email us or comment in this video, and I will figure out a way to put it on our page and ship them out to you. Down here is what's left of our beets, which isn't many. In this bed here, we'll have lettuce, and I'll put lettuce. I think I'm going to put cauliflower, and we'll put peas in this bed over the winter. And in here, we'll actually let the heat run. We'll heat it up to about 30 degrees, so it don't get so it don't get colder than 30 in here at night. Nothing will freeze under that, so it won't hurt the plants underneath that. And that'll help keep the water thawed out too. So, and we got lettuce growing in here. Actually, it is coming back. So we'll harvest out this lettuce, and then so this will be a winter bed, and that garden up there will be a winter garden. Two lettuces, a spinach, and this has cauliflower, kale, and Swiss chard. The chard and the cauliflower will be in the greenhouse. These won't take a hard freeze. Everything else will. The lettuce won't take a hard freeze either, actually. But so we'll keep the lettuces, kale, and the lettuces, the cauliflower, and the chard in the greenhouse. The kale and spinach will go up in the cattle panel. I think I probably need one more tray of these, but we'll see.
The more the better.
Yeah, I'd rather have more than I need than not enough.
Yeah.
If you liked it, please share with your friends and family. Subscribe to our channel if you're not. If you are, thank you so much. Greatly appreciated. Until we meet again, take care and God bless.
See ya.